All right. So for ideas and research, let me start by saying that how many of you heard about the scandal in academic admissions? Oh, yeah, yeah. Academia is capitalism. We need to change that. So part of what this is about is, at least for me, the vision for the next year is to actually imagine how do we create a new research cluster. And one of the things that I want to break down is this idea that research is something that is confined to academia. Right. Now, what I take inspiration from is two seemingly very different fields, but I think they have important lessons for us in thinking about how to create a new research cluster. One is queer studies, and those of you who don't know the history of queer studies, I recommend Harry Menton's book, Departing from Divergence, which models an amazing way for us to think about what a research cluster might look like, because it was, from the beginning, it was multidisciplinary, it was activist scholarship, and there was an extremely close relationship between academia and its social constituents. The second field is data science, which brought together new and old disciplines, and the growth of the field was achieved very quickly through formal institutional mechanisms and relevance to a wide variety of real-world applications. So those are the two things that I'm really taking inspiration from. So in terms of the strategies for founding this, I want to create a thematic coherence across disciplines, but there is no hierarchy of disciplines, right? We're not privileging any one mode of knowledge making. So this is not, somehow economics is more valuable as a way of understanding the world than anthropology or history or literary studies. And, if you attended any of our academic panels, you saw just how incredible the research in all of these different fields. Like, we had 15 different fields represented. So the annual conference is one of the places where we want to create a venue for sharing new research. But the most important thing that we want to do is to create this intellectual commons, which I'm going to talk to you about. And the second thing that's really at the heart of our vision for the next year is that this has to be student-centered. Right? Nurturing and empowering students is crucial to our goal, and we want to build a really strong relationship between our track and RXC students. The intellectual commons, the idea for it comes from the fact, how many of you have ever actually tried to publish in an academic journal? How miserable was that? Yeah. And how many of you do uncompensated peer review for academic journals? Yeah, how miserable is that? Yeah. So that is really the process that we're trying to disrupt. And part of the insight for this comes from the fact that the byline of any paper is a lie, because actually we all contribute to the creation of an intellectual product. And we want to actually think about a distributed model of creating intellectual products. So there's a partial common ownership model that's built into the platform, and the second is a rapid, transparent, and participatory process of peer review, which circumvents both the possibility of sort of academic gatekeeping and also encourages constructive participation. So basically, any paper that's uploaded into the platform is going to have three categories, if you will, of authorship. The first will be credit-claiming authors, and here we really want to allow junior scholars who require these bylines for career advancement. They should be the ones who can claim credit in sort of traditional academic journals, right? Partial common owners include senior co-authors who are willing to cede credit to junior scholars, right? Something worth thinking about. Research assistants, and this is the most important thing, peer reviewers whose contributions substantially affect the final intellectual product, right? And in addition, signatories are also encouraged on this. Now, for the peer review process, so this is very different. This is why we need you all involved, right? Instead of having a small select group of editors who decide what does and does not pass muster, we're going to have many editors, so we reduce the burden on them, and all they have to do is basically say, is this competent? Right? Is this good enough to actually be on the platform? The peer review process is actually transparent. Anybody on the platform can engage, but it is transparent, which is so it's not anonymized. It's to disincentivize gatekeeping and to disincentivize non-constructive criticism. No reviewer 2 nonsense, right? The process is neutral to assent or dissent, so dissenting reviewers can still become partial comment owners if they affect the paper. And early and substantial engagement is incentivized because reviewers can become partial owners. In light of new scholarship, a published paper can also be reopened for debate, allowing us to archive the evolution of an intellectual product. Now, we're hoping that the Commons will basically create a new type of intellectual community, one that embodies our core values as a community and as an organization. And what I really wanted to do is to bypass the kind of increasing fracturing of academic research into elite enclaves and encourage collaboration across the class structure of academia. And I don't just mean that within the US, I mean that globally, right? So scholars in the global south should be as important to the process of creating intellectual products as scholars in the global north, right? The Commons will serve as a repository of ideas for all of our tracks and for our community. And we want the Commons also not just to think about rigorous academic research, but also serve as a pedagogical resource for student-centered academic practice. We believe the long-term success of our plan as an organization is in our youth. And this depends first and foremost in our track with our students, both at the graduate, especially at the undergraduate levels, and we're eventually hoping to actually be able to move into the school education levels as well. So we're interested in fostering pedagogical experiments aligned with our research interests and principles, and to foster future leaders of radical exchange. So get involved. So if you are an academic, you can, or currently a student, you can join RXC students or sign up to mentor our students. This is really important. We want you to think about how you can participate in the Commons, whether by contributing work or actually just signing up to become an editor. And we're also, and this is really important, we're also looking for people who want to step up and take on leadership positions within our track. So look out for elections. It will be quadratic, and and thank you very, very much.